how are characteristics or the way that these insurgent groups are operating? How is that carrying over region to region? And I guess in like some of the combat experiences and stuff that you guys were seeing in the Philippines, like what was the way they would approach it that maybe was the same or different?
I think what is scary is what we started to see. This even translates to the battlefield in Ukraine too, right? And the usage of drones.
Really?
Yeah. So when drones were becoming a thing, right? You could see, I swear to God, like every guy in the ODA, when we start, these little RC drones starting to become a thing, we're like, hey, we could probably strap a grenade on that. Right? That was like, well, if a bunch of dudes in a team room are thinking of it, so are probably a bunch of terrorists too.
Yeah.
Like it's not that far off, right? And so, suicide drones, suicide UAVs, they were starting to employ that. And what is dangerous about that is such a cheap method to deal some serious damage, put fear into people. You can do all sorts of things with that. Area denial, ambushes, attacks in the middle of the night. They don't have, these terrorist groups, thank God, don't have access to fighter jets, or the ability to, put smart, guided bombs, munitions on target like we can, but they can do a cheap version of that. They can do it with a UAV. So it's really scary to kind of watch that technology. And then you're getting it into these hands, and it requires a complete adjustment in your security posture, requires money, which we have. Money's the cheapest thing we got.
Yep.
Money's the cheapest thing we got. And, the causing us to address, looking for, how do we early warning detection system? How do we defeat this? And so now it's something that we have to train on. I remember very early on in infantry training, it was all about IEDs, looking for C-wire, looking for pressure plates, looking for, all these things that we would run into down range, and they're running us through lanes and trying to identify and call out what we would think would be IEDs. And so, fast forward 15, 16 years later, now we got a new form of terror on the field. We have these, high speed drones carrying a payload that can take you out.
And go anywhere too. See them go in like little tunnels and everything too.
Yeah. The stuff, like, I think like, we use it to our advantage. I know that, like, if I went to an ODA right now, I'd be a fucking relic because of how much technology has gone to the team. I'm sure someone's duty on the team is to operate a little drone thing now, right? And they actually have kits for that. And now what's kind of cool from a direct action standpoint doing CQB is you could send these little things in the room before you even go in there. Right? So now a snapshot in the room. Someone's in there, someone's not. All right, there's furniture. So it's slowing things. It slows things down, I think, but we're able to operate more safely. Whereas, it's not like some of the guys I know that I grew up with in special forces that were in Iraq in 2007 in the SIF company, and they're just like kicking in doors, throwing Iraqi, running with a bunch of Iraqis in the stack, and all you see is like flashbangs, screaming, and dumping magazines into bad guys. So it's speed and surprise. We're your best friends then. So now it's how do we adjust those TTPs?